Greetings, once and all. What the hell? That's a
Welcome,
good
everyone.
start. Easily derailed. Happy New Year, everyone. Welcome to another horrific talk spot. God, I just about to go live there, and TubeBuddy decides to get me to watch videos. It's like, no, what?
Stupid
Oh my
YouTube.
God, never easy. This, I think that just culminates the end of a shitty month. Oh my word, nothing working.
Yeah.
Tell you what, man. Time for a rant, but I am sick of politics and politicians and their stupid
What's that?
shit.
I could never understand what you
Really?
mean. Yeah, never. Being an American, I I,
Yeah,
I
you don't
don't
get much
understand what you
politics
mean.
over there, do you?
No, no, we don't have to deal with that shit ever.
God, it's honestly the most self-serving pricks of whatever side. They're all the same people, and they talk the same shit. And I don't know what it is about young people, but they seem to deify these fucking cunts, and it's like, what the hell?
Because they're too stupid to understand how dumb they are.
No, even something like getting a vaccine, getting out of this stupid crap has turned into political football, and you're like, really, really? Could you just not play your stupid games for once and let it happen?
Hmm.
Can you just for once stop with the crap?
Yeah, it's like just get the fucking vaccine and we
Yeah,
can go about life like normal. Like I don't fucking care. They can shove an iPad up my ass if I can get concerts back. Like I don't give a shit. Just let me go out again and listen to some really bad music and drink some really
yeah.
overpriced beer. That's
Mate,
all I
I've been in the
ask.
army, as you know. I have been stuck with
Hmm.
fucking multicolored vials of glowing shit and probably stuff that would like grow me a third testicle, and I just went along with it,
Hmm.
and I'm still here, so fuck it. But the fact that people are turning this into a whole political thing or a cause, and it's always, I don't know, do it, don't do it, or there's no in between of can we do this first? It's just fucking,
Hmm.
I don't know. People bug the shit out of me, honestly, over that. And
Oh
then you've
yeah.
got this whole thing with, oh, you've got too many vaccines. We're taking some. You're like, what? I don't know if you heard all that shit over here with the EU and stuff. Yeah,
Mm-mm.
you're
No, that's
vaccinating
fucking
too many
stupid.
people. How dare you? Think about people in the.
Like, that's kind of the point, right? Try to get
Yeah,
everybody.
so when you are. Like I said, the whole thing is just madness. There's absolutely no way you can look at these idiots and like take any of them seriously.
Hmm.
Honestly, it's just like, what is wrong with you fuckers? Like, what?
Dude, we got some people over here that are bad. Like in Utah, fucking, there was a pharmacist that had a whole shit ton of doses and just decided to destroy him because he doesn't believe it's real. It's like, you are a pharmacist. You are supposed to be a person of fucking science. And you're believing conspiracy theories? Like, you're looking at the fucking vial. How are there microchips in that? And for that matter, who gives a shit? This is how they track us. Don't
Yeah,
buy
like,
one of these if you
plus
don't
the
want to be
wearables
tracked.
and everything else. We've even got glasses, and what I mean.
Right?
We've already given over control or aspects of our life. That's
Right? That big of a fucking deal. Like I said, take an iPad, shove it up my ass.
yeah,
I miss
yeah.
overpriced
God,
beer.
that's there was a couple of people arrested for having a cup of coffee outside. Like that's how stupid it's getting over here.
Damn. Yeah, but you guys got that scary ass strain that's got like a much higher mortality rate and all that, so
You
I get
think
it.
people were dropping dead in the streets? Honestly, the way people talk, you think that the I look out the window and the street would be littered with bodies. Now, fucking
Hmm.
yeah, uh, it's not cool.
I really figured you would have picked up the call and we're dead. So I don't
Honestly, and also the flu has been cured, cancer has been cured, old age has been cured because
fucking
nobody
A.
dies of anything else. It's like what what I mean.
Yeah,
You're
no
just
shit,
looking at this
huh?
going, really what? Like, I am no conspiracy theorist. I tend to just go with the flow, live my life. But when you're faced with
Hmm.
absolute stupidity, you're like, nah, what you're telling me is not quite right. What's the real agenda here? Is it sinister or is it just plain utter incompetence?
Mhm.
And like honestly, I could not watch the news every day because I'd go on a killing spree. Honestly, I could not get actually
Man.
involved with politics itself. I have to step back because these people are all morons, and the ones that support them
Hmm.
are even worse.
Hmm.
Honestly, it's that's been my month. So good thing we'll have cheesy, shitty horror movies and fucking TV series
Yes,
that en-
it's a
enact our
beautiful thing.
fantasies. Because honestly, if I don't see somebody getting stabbed, I'll kind of want to do it myself. When you,
That's fair. It's a beautiful cathartic release watching these. I guess with that, that's a excellent segue into our first segment with
oh
horrific
yeah,
releases.
yeah, an interesting one this month. Shudder is starting to get a bit hit and miss, especially the Shudder originals. And I've watched a couple of them
Hmm.
uh, this month, and I'm starting to see a pattern. And I think we'll discuss it with this one, the Pale Door. Now, God man, I was looking
Oh,
forward to this.
me too. Me too. Especially like the book series that I'm reading right now has really got me into westerns, which is ironic because Indian fucking hate cowboy shit. But yeah, I was looking forward to this. It's like fuck yeah, let's see some gunslinger shit.
Yeah, I was
And then we
I
got
was
this.
expecting wisecracks and I don't know,
Uh
almost
huh.
I don't know what I was expecting, but fuck, let's start on this. So it starts off okay, and I thought they were setting up a storyline. So we've got the two
Uh
brothers,
huh.
Jake and Duncan. I've actually put down names this time in my notes because I'm awful for remembering
Hell yeah.
characters' names. Never mind. Yeah, sorry actors, but you have no hope. If I can't remember your characters' names, if you think I can remember yours, dream on.
Right.
You have to be beating me over there. I can't even remember friends' names after a while. I'm that bad.
It happens. It happens.
Uh, but Jake and Duncan, they're kids. Their family home's getting attacked, and their parents get killed. And what is it? Do. Yeah, so they end up getting scuttled off. And I thought that this was relevant. Like, this was like 10 minutes into the movie.
Hmm.
Like, this is 10 minutes of this stuff. The whole scene. So,
Hmm.
you
I mean, it was kind of relevant ish, I guess.
sort of.
Explain why the black guy was
Well,
acting like a
okay, right.
dad.
You didn't need 10 minutes. You didn't need 10 minutes to
No.
explain that. Because,
No.
fuck, you don't. Right, okay. In this day and age, that's what gets me. We got over this shit in the 90s. You don't need to explain why somebody who's black is looking after white kids or vice versa. It's the world. So,
Right.
anyway, if that's what the 10 minutes was about, what the fuck? I thought there was a family history or a reason and that was going on, but
Hmm.
no. Right, okay, so at 10 minutes. So we know they're brothers, fine. We then skip forward to the town. They're basically an outlaw gang. Uh, Jake's working in the bar, the saloon. And then we meet all the
Hmm.
characters. Now, up to this point, I was on board. I actually like the gang. I like the characters. You know what I mean? There was nobody
Hmm.
there making me think, oh, hope you get killed or anything else. Actually, I like a bunch of rogues. I think that would be the best
Uh-huh.
way to describe it. And Jake was. So, because of what happened, yeah, we can understand that Jake's sheltered. That makes sense. So, Duncan doesn't want anything to happen to him, so he's kept out of the life. So, yeah, I kind of get that. That was fine. And then,
Hmm.
even the gunslinging scene when we have Buck, that Buck, now you stop playing with that man now, you know. That was a funny scene. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was funny, and it kind of sets up the story. So up to this point, no problem. I'm still on board with the movie. Don't know about you.
Yeah, I was with it up until they
Yeah.
got to the place.
So Buck gets
But
shot. That's the whole premise of
yeah.
the story. It's on the trailer as well. So this is when
Hmm.
Jake decides, because he's already given the thing. He's saving up to buy their parents' house back. Um,
Hmm.
he's timed right down to the day of how long he has to work in the saloon to have the money. That's which, not accounting for inflation or anything else, seems very specific. Because guaranteed, the
Hmm.
minute you're like eight years and you have the exact amount of money, whoever's selling is going to ask you for $1 more because people are shitheads. But yeah, we'll not go into
Yeah,
that.
no shit.
Although one knock it down to make a railroad because that's what happened as well with farms. Because guaranteed. But anyway,
Hmm.
Jake decides that he wants to go on this heist to get the money for the farm and prove himself to his big brother, sort of thing. Which is fair enough. That's all good so far. We get to
Yeah,
the train
makes
robbery
sense.
itself. Pretty standard. Until
Hmm.
we get to the actual casket. So we know this third party hired these guys to get the casket. So I don't know how it works with the robberies, because if it was all gold, then did the guy that supplied the information get a finder's fee, or was he getting the share of it?
See, I would imagine it would be just like with pirates, where it's like completely equal minus, yeah, like basically the finder's fee.
Yeah,
But
because
I
the
don't
guy
know.
that supplied the information, who was the guy with the hat that basically does all the admin for the gang, he had got the tip off,
Hmm.
so they must have paid him, but we don't know where this came from. But the idea was big score, rob a train, find the
Hmm.
casket, and there's a girl inside. Okay, so at this point, no explanation, and this is where I thought the movie was going to go.
No.
Why was she chained up? Who's taking her? Who's coming after
Hmm.
her? You know, what were these guys?
Yeah, it's like she's got a full on like Hannibal
Yeah.
Lecter mask and shit too. So it's like, the
Now,
fuck
what
kind
were
of
the
threat
guys
is
meant to
she?
do with her? Because they're acting surprised. So what were they meant to do after they robbed the train and found her? Do you know what I mean? This is
Hmm.
where it just goes fucking off to the side.
See, I mean, it's still, I can still stay on board with it. Like I said, up until they actually get to the place, because I mean, at this moment, they're just sort of in limbo. Like, what the fuck do we do? And then the deputy or whatever fucking guard it was that Jake saw and was like, "Oh, I'm not going to shoot you because I'm a bitch. Go ahead and run away." That's when she comes back and
Yeah.
pops his brother
Now,
Duncan,
was that the
and
girl that was
it's a
say? Was she the one
near
wearing
fall.
the red tunic? Remember, there was a whole bunch got off a train.
I don't remember what the hell she was wearing. I just remember that she was one of the marshals or whatever was guarding the
That's what it
thing.
was. She,
Because
yeah,
like everybody got off, everybody got blasted. She managed to get the fuck away. Because I think she just got winged or whatever. And then yeah, that's when Jake sees her. Is like, "Oh no, go ahead, run away. You're
yeah,
cute." It's like just fucking
yeah,
shoot her, man. Um, but yeah, so I mean, it makes sense up to that point because she's like, "Oh hey, I mean, you guys need to get the fuck out of here. I got a place that's by here, and we can help you. Let's go."
yeah. But
So I was still kind of on board, even though it didn't really make sense as to why she was in the casket. But I mean, of course, that's the catalyst of the story. It's like, why was she?
yeah, and like I said, this is where I got confused because first of all, if these guys knew they were rescuing her, they would have been told, and there would have been a payment.
Hmm.
If it was a complete
Hmm.
mistake, there was no indication. Do you know what I mean? That they get the wrong train. There was no payoff
Hmm.
of shit. This is the train before, or the train's been delayed. Do you know why there's not exact time? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the 19th century, so it's not as if there's like proper running timetables. It's still kind of vague, but still
Yeah.
missing one train for another. So it seemed to me this was the intended target. But why? You know, we'll never get paid
Yeah.
off in this movie about what the hell's going on in that respect, or who the third agency was that wanted to rescue us. You know what I mean? It just blah left out in the open. So yes, she says Potemkin, the town. Pearl leads him back. That's the girl's name. Pearl leads him back to the town, and yeah, okay. Seemed fair enough, but when they get back in the town, it's a ghost town, and she escapes. That's where I'm like, huh? At that point, the movie could have ended. The rest of the movie after that, kind of like, what? Like, I'm still scratching my head at it.
Yeah.
That's why I'm having trouble
I
reviewing
mean,
it. 'Cause I'm like,
it was okay even once it got to the brothel scene. Like, you knew something was up. Obviously, something had to be up. I guess for me, the part where it turned was when, you know, everybody's in their respective rooms getting their dicks touched and whatnot. That Jake is sitting there with the madam, and she's like, "Oh, so you don't want to be with one of them?" It's like, "No, I'm gay and a virgin." And she's like, "Oh, you're a virgin." Oh, swoon. That's when it's like, "Oh, come on,
yeah,
that's
it's like,
fucking lame." And then that's when everything turns, and then I get confused. It's like, are these witches? Are they zombies? Are they ghosts? Like, what the fuck is
it's like,
going
they didn't need
on?
to.
Like, presumably they're witches.
Yeah, there were witches that had been burnt at the stake, and then that was supposed to be the original form of their bodies, the burnt bodies. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he didn't need to be. This is diversity box ticking again, and not actual storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, just make him gay, because, yeah,
Yeah.
why not? We need to get one in there. Shoehorn, freaking shove it in there. It's like,
Yeah.
dude, come
Right.
on, that's. When you keep doing that stuff, that does more harm against equality or acceptance. When you do stupid things and piss people off, whatever message you're trying to give gets lost. It's that simple.
Mm-hmm.
And these morons that make movies today don't seem to get it. And that's what I'm saying. I've watched
Mm-hmm.
the one we were going to watch last month, Porno. I watched it. It's exactly the same. It's exactly the same formula. And I watched another one. Oh God, I can't remember, but it was another Shutter original. It's exactly the same formula. So it's like they've got the fucking template script, and they're going to apply this to every movie they make. God, it's as bad as Netflix.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's the crazy thing with Shudder is they don't actually produce any of these films. Like the fact that it's a Shudder original, it's just acquisitions. Like it's already been done, it's already been made, and they just come along and go, "Well, we got a couple bucks. Here you go." So the fact that they're clinging to a certain model and it's happening so much is just
It's going to kill their
dumbfounding.
franchise because they're already struggling. Like, it's not as if you can go and Shutter and watch like an entire box set of the main sort of popcorn flicks, which I think the channel
Mm-hmm.
needs. You know what I mean? It needs the Child's Play series. It needs Nightmare on Elm
Mm-hmm.
Street. It needs Friday the 13th. Or it needs something like that. It
Mm-hmm.
needs to even have the Universal Monsters. You know, I think it needs to have
Mm-hmm.
something for the general audience because it's a niche platform.
Yeah,
But
very
if
much
they're
so.
going down this road, like, I'm getting bored already.
Yeah. Well, and it seems like part of the problem, even with their originals, is like the ones that are actually like original titles, like they don't want to pursue them any further. It's like they'll pay all this money to get certain things, but then fuck other shit that's super cheap. Like me, for one, I'm a big Holliston fan, so when that popped up on there, I was super excited because, hey, I don't have to walk 5 feet to go get my Blu-rays and put it on. I can just press a couple buttons and watch it. Like they're ready to go for a season 3. Like they're just sitting on their thumbs waiting for them to start it. And I mean, it's a sitcom, and an entire season costs less than the amount of a typical sitcom episode. So it's like a no fucking brainer. Just come on.
Yeah, it's yeah.
But whatever. I love Shudder, but yeah, it does make me nervous because it seems like they get licenses for all kinds of dumb shit, but they can't get, stuff that appeals to more, you know, I guess people wanting to get their feet wet
Yeah,
with
and
the
you need
horror
that.
genre. Because, like, for me, they're always putting up niche shit that I'm
Mm.
like, fuck yeah, this is awesome. But we're also
Yeah,
different kind of
like
breed.
normal people won't sit with for a horror night with us because we like watch freaky shit. So it's like and laugh at it. You know,
Yeah.
that's a given. Like it's even with this podcast or anything else. Like there's people freak out when I share episodes and stuff. They're like, oh, like really, honestly, am I that desensitized?
Everything's, yeah, everything's been so tame that we've been discussing, like,
I
it's not
know.
that big of a deal.
It's not even it's not even worthy of like back to the 70s or 80s where there was like edgy stuff made for the time. There's nothing really edgy coming out anymore. But yeah, this movie, this is this is where it really starts getting weird and convoluted. So yeah, like you said, when they're in the brothel and they're all getting the business, going down with the business, you see the witches actually collecting hair and stuff. And as you know with witchcraft, taking a sample, like a piece of hair, nail clippings, that's like a voodoo practice. So it's almost like they want to involve them in a ritual. And then you get no
Yeah.
payoff. They just
Yeah. That was the thing that I was confused about because, yeah, that's a big deal. Like, in a lot of different forms of witchcraft, like, you're using that to bind somebody or curse somebody. And at most, like, there's a couple time slips where they jump, they'll go through a door and then wind up somewhere else.
yeah.
That's it. It's like,
So
what the
why
fuck?
do they run and get shot? Like if they've got this amount of power, the running about and getting shot thing doesn't make sense. Plus, they can't seem to walk properly in their normal form. So stick to your human form and actually run. When they're doing the all fours thing,
Yeah,
like
that's true.
running so slowly that you could hit them with a slingshot. Never mind a gun. It's like,
Right.
dude, what the hell? And coming out of the water and shit. Like, what was that about?
Yeah, it was just all kind of like, I get it. You're trying to go for a cool shot, but where's
Yeah,
the
it's
substance?
um, man, like I said, I've really struggled with this film. It just goes to absolute rat shit. Like, now
Mhm.
if they had been rescuing the girl and the witches were chasing them, that would have made sense. And they went into another brothel with the witches being an outside force.
Mhm.
That would have made sense. But the way they completely turned from the, and we'll just say rescue, it just went to pot. It's like Rand Johnson has jumped into all these movies halfway through and go, "I'll finish it for you."
Yeah, no
That's
shit.
the way it feels like. It's like they've hired Rand Johnson under a pseudonym halfway through these type of movies and got him to write the rest of the script. That's how
Mm.
convoluted and bad it is. We're talking that sort of shit.
Yeah. It's just, there was no purpose. I mean, if you nitpick it, you can find a reason why they went the path they did with everything. Like, everything makes sense to an extent, but it's not the logical path to take the film, and there's no
No, and
payoff at the end. Like,
if you have to do mental
uh,
gymnastics, like I know we don't expect everything to be like laid out straight. We want to think a bit, but when you have to literally
mhm.
hurt your brain to try and figure out where the hell this plot's going or the purpose of it, you're like, uh,
Well, and this is the wrong kind of film for that. Like, there's films that are like that,
mm-hmm.
but that's great. Like, that's part of the allure. This is not one of those films. This is a shoot 'em up witch movie. Like, you got monsters, you got cowboys. Keep it simple.
Yeah.
That's all you need.
And then so we'll have this like they're demonstrating that they're powerful magic and they have the power of illusion and transportation all within this sphere, and plus the people are trapped. So once
Mhm.
again, I don't understand why the witches have to like get shot. That just, like I said, just doesn't make sense. So we get these guys and they go into
Mhm.
the church. And where the fuck did that red line appear from? Like, this thing jumps all over the place. So they go into the church. They're supposed to be
Yeah.
safe. And then this red circle appears, where they all line up with their cloaks. So
Yeah,
they go from being burnt witches to in cloaks again. Then they start
mhm,
using their magic and actually able to kill every one of them from within. So once again, you don't need hordes of zombie creatures running about to get shot. And plus it's a
mhm,
small town, so I'd imagine there's a limited number, a finite number of witches, like they're a coven.
mhm.
So they don't exactly have pawns or like cannon fodder, so to speak.
Yeah. Well, and it's so much scarier when they start killing them like with magic, like when um Pat Healy's character, I forget what his name is, but when he's like chomping down on what he thinks is his jerky and
Oh
really
yeah.
it's broken glass. Like that's a good way to go out. That's scary. He's fucking eating glass and thinking it's food,
That, and that would have
I
done
guess. But
like any of these sort of movies.
mhm,
You either you release something that shouldn't be released, or you're dealing with an entity and you make a mistake, and then that's your getting punishment.
mhm,
There's absolutely none of that. Like the basic horror trope is, don't open the box, or if you open the box, say the right words, do the right things. If you don't, everything goes to rat shit. You know what I mean?
mhm,
That's the basic premise of any sort of horror creature feature type thing. And
mhm,
yet, there was none of that here. And it just like they wiped them out. The crow scene was cool as well. Like they using the magic and actually messing with the members was cool, but that was it. You know, when you just watch the rest of the
mhm,
story, it was a bit of a shit show. You know, it made no sense because they
mhm,
can't physically enter, but their magic can. So there was no reason they could have just transported them out, and
mhm.
that was it. I don't know that end scene. Like, I can't really talk too much about the plot because honestly, I
Uh,
can't really go through. There isn't a plot to follow.
No, not really. It ends with the brother, the non-virgin, because the virgin
Yep.
sacrifices himself. But it ends with Duncan having the home, having kids, having animals, and there's just a random cross in the
Yeah.
middle of his yard. It's like, look, we know you didn't bury your brother, but who the fuck would do a family plot right in the middle of your yard, right next to your chickens? Like
Lazy.
that's have it out in the distance. Have it like next to your typical tree, like the same tree that everybody uses in
Yeah.
every
Wrap
movie.
wrap it around the
Like
actual tree
that's
branch. You know the scarf. Something.
uh,
Uh,
yeah, it just like it's like, oh great, his brother died, so the other brother could have his dream. Cool.
yeah, that was.
That didn't
And then they
happen.
tried to make finish it off on an ominous note with a crow watching them, and you're like,
Mhm.
You are not going to try and make a sequel out of this. No fucking way.
Oh, and what's the point? And we know that they have like dick for power outside of their town. So what does it even matter that they're watching? It's not like they can do shit
Yeah,
anyways.
this was a mess of a movie. Absolute.
Yeah, it had potential, and then it just was not
I don't know.
good. Not one of the worst things I've seen from Shudder. I'll
That's true. It's
definitely give
better
it
than
that.
Spiral. Let's put it like that.
But Spiral was
Yeah,
fucking awful. So at least it
yeah.
was
So
better
we've
than
got like
Spiral.
a, and it wasn't fucking erotica, Veronica.
Oh
So
God,
we've got our
yeah.
bar. So that's our lowest bar, folks.
I mean, that's the lowest bar there is. Period. I don't even think snuff films or anything like illegal goes below Verotica. I'm pretty sure that that's just barely a rung up from Verotica.
Oh man. So yeah, folks. If you're thinking about watching this, good luck to you.
I mean, hey, if you got nothing better to do, it is at least something to have in the background, and you're gonna chuckle every now and then. So it's it's definitely a movie.
Right. Let's
Yeah, well, I think with that, let's get on to this month's
Indeed.
horrific remakes.
Right. This was one I wanted to avoid. This has been a bone.
That is funny.
Yeah.
I love this one.
I have. This is what got me. Nightmare on Elm Street is what got me into the horror genre. I'm massive Freddy Krueger, Robert Englund fan. You know, I mean, this is my childhood.
Mhm.
You know, from like 7, 8 years of age, watching these movies and going into the movie theater and buying the ticket for the right movie and then sneaking into that one. You know, I mean, that's how bad it was.
Right.
Because that was the thing you used to do was you bought.
God, I miss those days, man. I miss those days.
You would find something appearing roughly at the same time. It was a whole
Mhm.
tactical uh, thing. As you'd buy the one for like a 12 movie, then you sneak into the 18 movie.
Mhm.
And the cinema, my local cinema, the one I used to go to, they knew fine rightly and they didn't give a shit. You know what I mean?
Hey, you know what? You bought your ticket to the right one, so
Because I
whatever.
went every week, you know, to the cinema when I was a kid.
Huh.
Every week. I think because you had only 4 screens as well, and the smaller ones, back in the day.
Mhm.
So there was always a new movie on. So that was just, it was only like £3 as well. So it was cheap to actually go to the cinema. So
Mhm.
that was it. Every week it was a Saturday thing. Went to the cinema, but I have been putting off watching this remake for 10, 12 years, 11 years. Came out in 2010.
Oh, that's funny as hell.
So
So this is the first time you've seen it
yeah,
then?
I'm
Oh,
prepared to
Jesus.
suffer for my art.
Shit, I fucking Janet and I went and saw this shit in theaters, and everybody hated it, and we're like, man, that was a great take on Freddy.
Yeah, right. Okay, first thing, the mask. That's what put me off.
What? He looks like a burn victim,
It just looks so. I think because Robert Englund's one is so detailed.
dude. This is crazy detailed.
Uh,
I mean, yeah, there's parts where it's green screen, but like for the most part, it's all you know, silicone and
I
paint.
think when I got to see Jack Earl Haley acting, it made sense. But when you saw it on the posters and stuff, I kind of went,
Hmm.
nah, this looks.
No, that's fair, and that's the biggest thing with this movie. You have to get over the fact that it's not Robert Englund. And I really think that like there's two things that anytime I talk to somebody about this movie, they bitch about. And that's one, that it's not Robert Englund. Boo fucking who, we know it's not. Get over it. Okay? Once you get past that, like he's an amazing actor. It's fucking fantastic. And then the other one, which I find hilarious because I always wonder, it's like, did you watch the original fucking franchise? Is, oh, he's a pedophile in this. Guess what? He's a
Yeah, he's
pedophile in all
everybody's
of them.
favorite pedophile.
It's just not that overt. Like it doesn't really get that like it doesn't really drive home until about Dream Warriors, even like Dream Masters. Like it's the third or fourth in the franchise where you really start to understand. Oh, he's a fucking kitty
Yeah,
diddler. Um, but like this, it's just a different take on his origins, and it's so overt. Like he fucking touched kids. This is why he's gone. And like I love that aspect of it. Like not the kitty diddling because that's just
yeah.
fucking weird, but just showing a different side of Freddy that we already know is there. Like I thoroughly
But
enjoyed
I have to
that.
admit as well, even for modern actors, these bunch were quite cool. So
Yeah,
yeah, like I said, it was a hard one because like there's no way back in 2010. I think that was too soon. I think if I had maybe made this now, because Robert England's like in his 70s, isn't he?
that's something like that.
It would kind of make sense because we know he's not going through that shit again. So
Mhm.
that's cool.
Well, I don't know. Even at that point, it had been 11 years, or no, it'd been longer than that because New Nightmare came out in what 98, 96, something like that. So I mean, we're talking like you know almost 15 years after the last movie. So it's like I
I
think that's
think because
safe.
Robert Englund was still going around doing the conventions and still quite active, that didn't help because you still got Robert Englund in your head.
Hmm.
That's for me personally. Like he's, like I watched
Hmm.
all Freddy's Nightmares, all the skits he's done. When he
Hmm.
transformed from being, just being a horror franchise, the character, and that's something
Hmm.
actually I want to do sometime is maybe talk about when the actual character becomes bigger than the franchise. That'd be a good
Hmm.
series or thing to talk about
Oh yeah.
how and when it happens and what were the factors. But this is a classic case
Hmm.
of Freddy Krueger and Robert Englund's act portrayal of him. It's actually bigger than the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise itself.
Hmm.
It's the same as Jason Voorhees, Wayne, and Michael Myers. They're bigger than the actual films they made, and they
Hmm.
become their own thing, their own sort of entity.
Oh yeah.
So this it didn't deviate too far from the plot, but what they did do, and this is what I really liked, was they upgraded the effects and they did put a bit of terror into it.
Mm.
A particular scene when Jesse gets killed, and the original obviously Jesse gets hung, but this time Freddy just straight out, rips him to pieces. But that thing of,
Hmm.
do you think you can turn back time? Do you think you can bring the dead back to life? No, I don't fucking think so. I'm like,
Yeah.
holy shit, that was Jake Earl Haley just owning that character. You know what I mean? That
Hmm.
was him bringing uh, his own flavor to it, and actually, I
Hmm.
thought he'd done it better because he actually really was sinister and menacing.
Oh yeah. Like he was fucking terrifying, and like you believe every second of it every time that he's sitting there playing with them. Because I mean, Freddy in the original franchise kind of did. I mean, obviously, as you get into latter films, like he really fucking plays with them because, of course, the idea is to outdo the kills from the last movie. But with this, it's just like it's not even cat and mouse. It's just like fucking sadist and masochist. Like he's fucking with them hard. And I mean, he talks about, oh yeah, the human mind still works for up to 7 minutes after the heart stops.
Yep.
Well, you still got 6 minutes, so let's have fun. Like that's just fucking
Yeah,
sinister as shit. So
that's
good.
that's actually when I was kind of. I'll admit I was kind of sleepwalking along until that scene,
Hmm.
and then I'm like, holy
Hmm.
fuck! I'm
Well,
just
yeah,
like my eyes just go, holy shit! I'm on board. What the hell? What have I just missed?
yeah.
That was like a turning point for me.
Well,
I'm like, oh shit!
mm,
What this is? Oh, this is something. This is
mhm. Well, yeah, because like up until that point, I mean, really, this movie starts off, and even like throughout the entire film, it feels like an early to late 2000s horror movie. It's even shot on like the same cameras, the same basic people. Like it feels like an era or a movie of that era. It's when that starts to happen that you realize, oh fuck, this isn't just like another like Darkness Falls or something. Like this shit's gonna be some shit.
yeah. And I think that's what I think the mistake they made with this is they should have give Jack Earl Haley more time, more dialogue. Because at the start of the movie, up until that scene, they hadn't given him much in the way of dialogue. So he's just
Hmm.
spooky woo boogeyman type thing. But
Hmm.
like I said, that line, I instantly turned my head and I started really paying attention. I'm like, holy shit, there's something here.
Yeah.
And then that's where I think they missed the trick with this. They could have capitalized on that. I don't think they understood um, how to use this actor.
Hmm. I think so. The one fault I have with the movie is, um, and you really get it when you watch the behind the scenes, which I was doing last night. Like the people involved with the film really thought they were reinventing the wheel, and ultimately kept going back to the shit that Craven developed because it worked. I mean, every single aspect. Like they're talking about, how they were going to do a different sweater, a different look, but ultimately kept going back to the original look because of the psychology behind it. And it's like, yeah, Wes Craven did a lot of shit, but there's some stuff like, and I love Wes Craven just as much as the next guy, but there's a lot of his movies I don't fucking like. like the Scream
Oh God.
franchise, don't I don't give a fuck about it. But like when you go into like the whole Freddy mythos, like he really did his shit. Like every aspect of that character um, has a deep psychological impact or subconscious psychological impact. Like it's he did it for a fucking
There's a
reason.
reason these characters stay with us. Like, how many
Hmm.
horror movies are out there? Thousands. And most of them are
Hmm.
forgettable. But
Hmm.
there's a reason these characters stay with us. Like, uh, talking about Wes Craven, like the Wishmaster series, everything else, the what he grounds his characters in is enough to grip you. I think he's the same sort of
Hmm.
thought process as Stephen King. As in, let's not worry about going too far out there, but let's look inside to the human psyche. What frightens
Hmm.
people?
Yeah, it's much more terrifying.
But yeah, I have to say, I came a fan, but at the same time, with this movie, I don't know what your thoughts on it, but would it have been better if Freddy was wrongly accused and killed? Or keeping him as the
No.
actual, straight out, and this time, really fucking, he's a paedophile, he's taking pictures, he's touching kids. Like, they're really laying that bare, there's no messing about.
See, I don't know how I would have felt if they would have gone the opposite route, um, because I mean that's at that point they're changing the character way too much, and if you're going to do a remake or a reimagining, you have to stay within the certain realms of the original franchise. Otherwise, people are just gonna shit all over it. And I don't know. That's one aspect I really liked about it was they really drilled that home. Like, and it's sort of like on the fence the whole movie. It's not until what the last 10 minutes um, that you realize like, oh fuck, he actually did do this. Because like even the kids are saying to the principal slash dad, like, we were fucking 5. We don't know what's going on. Did you ever find this cave? And no, we didn't, but he was doing something. So it's always kind of like throughout the film, you're like, fuck, did he actually do it or did he not? So I think when it gets to the point where you find out, oh
Mm.
fuck, he did it, that was a great
Yeah, he
payoff.
was. They made him out truly a monster. That's what I'm saying. It could have possibly worked either way. That he became an avenging spirit because of the injustice done against him,
Hmm.
or he's just an out shitty person that became a shitty entity, and there's no redeeming
Hmm.
qualities, which is cool as well. That's where I'm a wee bit on the fence about. I don't know.
Hmm.
Why didn't this movie work? Because I enjoy. I don't. Do
I
you know
don't
what I mean?
know. That's
Once, like I said, I was kind of sleepwalking along until the scene with Jesse, and then
Mhm.
I changed. I was on board. You know what I mean? I was like a
Mhm.
switch, and then I was fully on board with this movie.
Yeah, I don't get it either, especially because, the early 2000s, if it wasn't a remake or a remake of a Japanese one, nobody went to see it. And there's so many people that love a lot of the remakes. Like I know people that prefer the fucking Rob Zombie Halloweens over the original Halloweens, which, whatever. You can be wrong in your opinion. I get it. But like this is one that like legit was really fucking good and everybody hates it. Like I even the remake of Friday the 13th, I know more people that appreciate that over this when Jason was a fucking pot grower. Like,
Mm.
come on.
Yeah, it's an odd one. The only thing that took me away was okay. They went back to the kindergarten thing, the play school group.
Hmm.
How the hell, like, taking away suspension of disbelief, and in the real world, that wasn't a huge like in the original one. He had an abandoned warehouse where he took his kids back to, and he basically kidnapped them off the
Hmm.
street. This building was
Hmm.
tiny, so
Hmm.
and plus he's the gardener, so that means there's other members of staff there. How did he get away with it for so
Hmm.
long? Do you know what I mean?
Right.
It's too
Well, and
it's too
how do you
confined
have
a place and too easy to scrutinize. They actually have a fucking cave built underneath. That's where they lost me.
Especially because like that is bigger than the basement. And that's, I mean, that's the problem with like the angles they were shooting at. But I mean, those were vaulted fucking ceilings. Like that was a bunker basically that was just tucked away behind a wall. Like that was a little weird.
Yeah,
And like my other bitch fit with it was when, of course, Nancy and What's His Bucket find the picture of the preschool class. If you're trying to hide something like that, why wouldn't you just fucking get rid of it? Why would you hide it in a big fucking envelope for one picture underneath a drawer? That didn't make any
yeah.
sense either.
That's where the kind of, like I said, I think they missed a trick with this. I think
Mm-hmm.
there was an opportunity because Robert Englund never panned the sequel. In fact, he was supportive. So there was definitely a
Mm-hmm.
passing of the torch. You know what I mean? I think maybe even the way they marketed it, there could have been a passing of the torch. Could have had the two actors together.
Mm-hmm.
Robert Englund shaking his hand, Jake's hand, and to show that there's goodwill, if that makes sense. But
Mm-hmm.
sorry, Hollywood, American culture, you can't have goodwill. Everything has to be a battle. Because
Of course.
we're seeing it even today. Like it's like they want their fans, they hate them.
Mm-hmm.
It's all very strange. But yeah, that's where it took me away again because I was on board, and then when you see the actual play group and how small it is and what he's built, it just became unreal. Which,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, if they had done a better job of that, even kept it exactly like the original, that it was an abandoned warehouse or steel factory, whatever it was, and he was taking his kids somewhere
Mm-hmm.
else. But to have him actually in that small space, supposedly doing all that stuff, they lost me. Or if it had been an outbuilding away from the main structure, like if
Mm-hmm.
the play school had been on the outskirts of something else where the bunker was built, that would have made sense to me. If it had been inner city, for example,
Mm-hmm.
I think what they messed up was that it's the suburbs. If this had been an inner city setting where you've got like you know what I mean, you've got these groups and there's abandoned warehouse buildings and office buildings and stuff. If that had been the way, and he knocked into the next building that was abandoned, but that's kind of for me. I'm trying to formulate my words here, but yeah, that bit's what took me out of the movie again, where they'd
Mm-hmm.
actually managed to get me on board, and then it made me think if he had been innocent, it would have actually fed into the location because there's no sensible way.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I'm struggling with the suspension of disbelief. There's no logical and sensible way he could have done what he done in that location where the playgroup is. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, of
for
course.
me, then if I had to change it up that he was wrongly accused by a parents group, just vigilantes, just decided he was something because they didn't like him, which we're seeing
Mm.
today can quite easily happen. That everybody's up. We're back to burning
Yeah.
torches and pitchforks. Like
Yep.
that's today's
Pretty
world. It's like
fucking
we've gone
much.
back to the medieval times. But in that aspect, because it didn't make any logical sense that he could have done what he done, and they killed him wrongly, and then he became an avenging spirit, that would have fitted in. If they had changed the location
Mm-hmm.
of the playgroup or the setting of it, and made the abuse believable, that he had somewhere to go that they couldn't have found, or there's a whole section of outbuildings that he's
Mm-hmm.
able to sneak them off to, or he was grabbing kids. It was only when he started doing it in the playgroup that he got caught, and he was doing it outside the playgroup beforehand, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they messed up the story with this. Which seems a shame, because I think Jack Earl Haley could have made a great Freddy Krueger, and actually this franchise could have carried
Mm-hmm.
on in a more sinister sort of aspect.
Oh yeah, definitely. It could have been really fucking dark.
Do you know what I mean? We'll have the campy Robert Englund, because I think they understood they weren't scaring anybody after
Mhm.
part 3. And that's when they decided to go the comedy route,
Mhm.
which worked.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? It was actually quite clever
Oh yeah.
to make.
Oh yeah. I mean, it
Still today,
lasted for
people
another
are still watching the
decade or so
franchise
with
today.
movies.
I mean, there's new people coming into it.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I've kind of mixed feelings about this. Trying to think how to conclude. Just it could have been brilliant. It could have been brilliant and a really reinvigoration of the franchise, but because of a
Hmm.
few, and not the actors, there's no case of bad acting in this, which I found really refreshing.
If if there was if there was anyone that I had to critique their acting on, it'd be Nancy's mom. Like she has the same face throughout the entire movie. But she also looks like a fucking
Yeah,
self-medicated suburban mom. So I can forgive it, but yeah, if I was going to critique anybody, it'd be her. Everybody else, like,
yeah,
great.
that
I
was the
fucking
thing.
believe
I'm
it.
not watching this. You know when you watch like the last movie we just watched there, horrible acting, and they're wooden planks.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah,
No one was
but
good.
this movie actually was on board with the characters. I didn't. I'm not like going, oh, this is terrible. They all played their part and it was really good.
Hmm.
So
Oh,
for
yeah.
this, I think that's what frustrates me. For a couple of minor mistakes that if they had it fixed, this would have went completely differently.
Hmm. Yeah, and I would say probably the only thing that doesn't hold up with this film, because I mean it's 11 years old, which doesn't seem like that long, but I mean if you look at something that's 13 years old, like Spawn
Oh,
the movie, like special effects have come a long fucking way. The only thing that doesn't really work for me with this is that Frighteners scene where he's coming
oh
down through the
God, I forgot about
wallpaper.
that. Oh,
That that did not hold up well at all. Just like the Frighteners, it does not
no, if
hold
they had
up
a
well. Great movie, but it's
God, I forgot about that. Oh my word, yeah, yeah.
yeah. But it is funny too because the second time when Nancy's coming out of the ceiling with the blood, that works perfect, and that's same basic effect. But yeah, just him coming down the wall,
Yeah.
Frightener style. That was only part of the movie that I'm like, man, that didn't
No, if
age
they had
well.
just done it like the original with the blanket, that would have.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Well, and that's so much more terrifying because like you get the proper lighting because it's real, it's there, it's happening.
Yeah. Like I said, it's a few minor mistakes. This just needed tweaked ever so slightly. It wasn't like I'll be honest with you. I'll watch this again. Like I could actually pick this up and watch it again. Which
Well, shit, I ended up buying it on Blu-ray because I think I have the DVD, but I couldn't find it. And it's like I could either rent this for $3 or I could buy the Blu-ray for 15. And this is one that like because usually I'll discuss with my wife like if it's something that I'm kind of on the fence of actually purchasing, I'll be like, "Hey, should I get this?" And she's like, "We don't have it." Well, obviously we need to get it because yeah, it's like I said, I really like it. As far as like the 2000s remakes, it's probably one of the better ones. It's not my favorite, but I really like it.
yeah, no, I did. Like I said, I'll watch this movie again. And enjoy it. Like I watched it once and then I've kind of skipped through to pick out a few points. Um, but yeah, I think I'll be watching this one again. Just such a shame, such a shame. It didn't take off.
Mhm.
But there you go. Shall we?
All right. Yeah, let's move on to the horror. This one is funny because I picked it and I didn't realize that it
Yeah,
was a fifth in the fucking series movie. Which it's great because like I watched it and I understood everything and appreciated everything. So you don't have to watch the other four movies. But yeah, so this month we're gonna be discussing Taste the Blood of Dracula. Like There's a
Yeah.
fucking mouthful of a name.
This is it follows on directly after Dracula has risen. Christopher Lee's Dracula was kind of the first horror franchise, I think, of the monster that keep killing and bringing back. And as it
Hmm.
Not Prince of Darkness. It's a second. I think this is the one. Dracula's risen. I think that's the one where Reinfeld gets killed in the previous one.
Yeah, I
It's
haven't
been so many
I
years
haven't
since
seen
I've
it, so
seen these
I'll take
movies.
your word. Well, the funny thing about this
Yep.
is he didn't want to do it. He was like, "No, I'm fucking done with Dracula." And they're
No,
like,
they're
"Okay,
like
we'll find somebody else."
money,
And then they
money.
find somebody else. And then the USA distributor of Hammer Films is like, "Why the fuck would we pay for this if it's not Christopher Lee? Like Hammer and Christopher Lee go hand in hand." So like, "Oh, okay, well, I guess we'll pay him more." And
Yeah,
then
because
he came
he
back
actually
on.
charged an exorbitant fee because he didn't want to do it. He's like,
Hmm. And you can kind of feel it in the performance too. Like he's in it so scantly, and when he is, there's like nothing, just
he can't be arsed.
like
He
that's it.
truly cannot be bothered. Yeah, this is a weird one.
No.
So the opening scene, bit weird. We see Weller. He's like the trader, rare antiquities, and he's
Hmm.
in the coach. It was a weird, funny scene how to get him out of the coach, but yeah, he has a snow globe, and this guy,
Yeah.
give me.
I mean, I've been that way with food when I'm
Yeah,
drunk before, so I get it.
but they throw him out of the coach, and then they throw his bags out. It's like if you're trying to take something off him,
Hmm.
you just throw him out and keep his bags.
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah, it doesn't make
I'm
any
like straight
sense.
away going, what the hell? But the whole
Hmm.
point is that he goes walking through the woods, and we hear this screaming, which is not Dracula. Like, I don't know what the hell that was.
Yeah, you thought it was a dying
Yeah,
animal at first. At least I did.
because Christopher Lee has always had the grace to die with dignity, not screaming like a lunatic,
Hmm.
but they have him dying as if he's. "Ah!"
Hmm.
But there you go. So that's the whole point. It's basically it's the final scene of Dracula has risen, where I think he got thrown out of the window with a cross. That's I would need to watch Dracula has risen again, but it's basically that's the whole premise. It's the final scene of the previous movie,
Hmm.
and Weller comes across him, and then when his blood turns to dust, and he gathers up all his accoutrements, basically.
Hmm.
Yeah, because
Because why wouldn't you?
you've just watched a vampire, like nobody else. Here, the bit where he falls onto the fucking polystyrene rocks. I know.
Oh my
The
god, that
whole
was so
fucking
awful.
stage wobbles.
It's like, man, I don't think stones that big move like that
He
ever.
bounced.
But
The
whatever.
whole thing
It's
just went
okay.
like, okay, okay.
Yeah. It's like maybe you should have put that in front of the pad instead of on the pad. But whatever, it's a Hammer movie, we can forgive it.
Sorry, I couldn't forget that, but that was brilliant. It was just
Oh god, I almost forgot about that. Yeah, that was hilarious.
so we jump ahead and we start getting introduced to the main characters. So we've got the four young
Mhm.
ones: Alice, Lucy, Paul, and Jeremy. They're your typical
Mhm.
Victorian era upper class kids, so to speak. Trying to just coming out of church because that's what you do on a Sunday. And when will I see you again? Oh, I love you. All this, kind of nonsense.
Mhm.
And then who is it? Harwood, yeah, the father. Harwood's like, you have to apologize. You were a harlot, and this is, and
Right.
instantly, once somebody gets on like that, they're a fucking deviant or something. Like when somebody's going on about,
Mhm.
I just love religious hypocrisy.
Oh, absolutely.
It's
It's so
it's
delicious.
just right out there, and like this is 1970, and these issues are being talking about. I just love the way people today think they're doing something new. It's like, nah, we've already had this
Yeah,
conversation many, many times. That's why you're boring the shit out of us, you silly little
pretty much.
bastards.
Yeah.
But yeah, social issues and all. But Harwood then meets up, and why don't you want me to marry Paul or whatever else? And it turns out that Harwood and his father are out freaking once a month going around all the brothels, like a monthly meeting.
Hey, I mean, that's some important ass
Absolutely.
charity work. Like, I could get behind
But
that kind of charity.
that was a whole thing of that era. Edwardian, Elizabethan, the first Victorian era really accentuated that because that was the beginning of social change. I think it's good to put this in context historically.
Hmm.
It was do as I say, not as I do. So if you were upper
Hmm.
class, they were all the detents, the deviants, like the stuff they get on up to, like would make your eyes water. But it was the ordinary
Hmm.
working class that were actually pious, were actually conservative, if that makes sense. They actually
Yeah.
stuck, and you even see it today. It's a UK thing, it's a British thing of the class system. That the working
Hmm.
class are actually tend to be more uh, conservative, moral, I suppose would be the word, about certain things and have hang ups. And it's
Hmm.
the middle classes and upper classes that preach it, but they don't do it. So this has
Yeah,
been,
of
you know, what I
course.
mean, a lot of these movies, and Hammer did it a lot during the time, social commentary, off the class system. But you're not getting hit over the head. You know what I mean? You
Hmm.
have to kind of look into it to understand.
Yeah, no, it's like it's explained in the film. You get the context, but they're not
Yeah,
like
which
preaching.
modern movie makers should really take note. This is how you do it.
Yeah, subtext,
You,
subtle
you don't need to
subtext is
beat somebody over
beautiful.
the head with a hammer because that's your instant reaction. Somebody to fight you back. You know what I mean? It's that simple.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. I immediately want to go the opposite direction.
Yeah. If you use force, you get resistance. That's use a bit of science there. But
Mm.
yeah, so it turns out they're out and they're now looking for the next big hit. So they are because they've done everything, been there. You know what I mean? And then we see
Mhm.
Courtly, who I don't know. This is the worst case of overacting I have seen.
What? Even down to the fucking costume, it's so awful.
Like he is
I mean, I would dress like that, but I have awful taste.
like this guy is something else. Like honestly,
Yeah.
there's no if buts or maybes. Like he is out there, and like he's swanning around the brothel. He's pushing people around and just acting like a complete prick. Which
Hmm.
I don't know. It doesn't help his character much. If
No.
he had been,
No, and it's.
sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just gonna say he's a pointless character, anyways. He's just sort of there as the catalyst for propel the movie, so it's okay that he's an asshole and nobody likes him
Yeah,
because we're not
he's
gonna
just
see him much
a
longer.
tool. But watching him get on the way he does, why the hell would you think I want to go talk to that guy?
I mean, the I don't know what would you call the proprietor of the brothel, 'cause he's not a madam, maybe madam, I don't know, but like I would be interested in knowing this guy because he's like, wait, he's poor. How does he get along in here? Oh well, the girls pay him. It's like, fuck yeah, I want to know this guy. I want to know his secrets. Whores are paying him to fuck him. Like that's pretty
Yeah, I
awesome.
suppose if it wasn't for that, but it was like the way he just gets on. It's like, come on, dude, you're not demonstrating how you're you're using your magic. Do you know what I mean? You're
Hmm.
actually acting the opposite.
Yeah, yeah,
So why would you pay for that? It's like, but anyway, I think it's
yeah.
just a quick segue to get us to the, you know what I mean. This whole thing just feels kind of rushed and contrived. I don't know. It's
Hmm. Well, and part of it, I would guess, is because of how the story was, because the story was very different from what the film actually was, because they had completely written it. gone through everything, and like they were right there getting ready to start shooting without Christopher Lee in it, because this wasn't actually going to be like based on Dracula. It was just going to be based around the blood. And it's like they didn't bother to go through and rewrite the movie after they ended up getting Christopher Lee involved.
Yeah.
And it kind of feels like that.
It was going somewhere, and then I don't know. So but the scene where they go to the cafe, the Royal Cafe, and they're basically full voice. Like Courtney doesn't have volume control.
Yeah.
Are you ready to sell your soul to the devil and take part, like in a fucking public cafe? Like, honestly.
Yeah. Especially this era, it's like, no, you
still
don't
go
talk
to the
like
tower.
that.
You still would get jailed for shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, that was
But
a
I
little
don't know
much.
whether it was bad acting or once again social commentary. Because if you dared to do that in a working class area,
Yeah, it's.
you'd be hung, you'd be lynched.
Mm-hmm.
But are they subtly trying to show that if you're in a certain class or breed, you can do whatever you want?
Yeah, I was having a hard time figuring that out myself. It's like, is that him showing how big his dick is, or is that him not
Yeah,
acting
it's
very
a
well?
difficult. But then,
Kind of
yeah,
came across as one or the other.
but I think he's a bad actor because I think when we see him later, we'll get to meet Weller again because I was wondering how he was going to be brought back into this, and then
Mm-hmm.
that's how we find out Weller runs his curiosity store, and he's had basically Dracula's items for so long, which is weird as well because they always set, you know, what I mean, they did set it in Transylvania, although the British actors, that was Pinewood Studios, they always set these stories, they never set them in London. This is the first time
Mm-hmm.
that it's been brought to London, if that makes sense. Because you don't have you know what I mean, we have
Mm-hmm.
castles, but you don't have the European style castles to do the set the scene. So
Mm-hmm.
even with Frankenstein, they've always set it in like Switzerland or Frankfurt. They've always set it in Europe. So for this then to get
Mm-hmm.
get to London was a bit strange,
Yeah.
and that's the first time.
I the thing I found strange was Dracula's amulet says
Yeah, that,
Dracula
that
on
was a
it.
bit. That's like something you buy out of a Halloween store.
Yeah. It's like, man, I'm pretty sure a homeboy knows his name. Why would he have it on this big fucking piece of gold?
Yeah, not even a family crest, because normally they do it with a crest. Oh, that's the crest of Dracula, and
Mm-hmm.
then explain it. No, just fucking chocolate metal type stuff.
Yeah, do the Order of the Dragon. Like, that's so much fucking
Yeah,
cooler than Dracula.
but that's when you kind of tell they almost don't give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then we get the ritual, and that's where I think this is just a terrible actor because what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
He's just acting like a dick the whole way through.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like you're trying to get them on board. Like, you already got them on board enough to buy the shit to do the ritual. Because my understanding was he was like sort of a servant of Dracula and is just trying to get him back. Um, so it's like, why would you be an asshole at that point? Like, these guys just
Yep.
spent a fuck ton of money for you to get the stuff to perform the ritual. Take some care.
No, it just it was weird. But yeah, we'll have the
Mm.
and I love the scene with the glasses. Did you bring the goblets? As if why do they get glass goblets and he has a silver one? It just weird. The whole ritual is just weird.
Yeah.
No contact. They're just ordinary crystal goblets. What was the significance in them?
Hmm.
They're
Yeah.
like I said, it was just it was just laughable. That's the only way I can describe it. Laughable scene.
Mhm.
But thankfully he gets killed. He drinks the blood. The others refuse to. Well, what would have happened if the three of them
Hmm.
had drunk it? That was the thing.
That's what I wonder. It's like if they don't consume all of it, do they get like some of his power or some shit? But because I mean, obviously, if you drink all of it, you turn into him. So yeah, I was wondering that like the entire rest of the movie, like what the fuck would have happened if they would have all drank it?
Yeah, because would there have been four crossover
Ugh.
Lees? Yeah,
Which I mean, that would have been hilarious.
fucking Agent Smith type style Matrix. Me too, me too.
I could get behind that.
Oh my god, there's a fucking idea for a movie, folks. Matrix type
Yeah.
Dracula. That would be just mental. But yeah, yeah, that doesn't even make sense. It's like, okay, quick, let's
Hmm.
just get along here to get Dracula appearing and killing people because yeah, the plot needs it to happen.
Hmm. Well, and it's crazy too because at that point, like that's almost an hour into the movie.
Hmm.
It's an hour and a half film. It's taken that long to get to that point that when they start killing people, it's just so rushed and it just like I'll be honest, I fucking fell asleep because I lost interest. Like I'd wake up like a couple minutes later and it's like I didn't miss anything apparently. Um, but there it was yeah, it was
Yeah, and
weird fucking
definitely not
movie.
Christopher Lee's best acting either. He just can't be our. He's just like, what the fuck am
No.
I doing here again? Honestly, so he
Hmm.
starts off. He corrupts Alice first, but
Hmm.
how come she didn't get bite marks?
I yeah, I don't think so. Of course, it's the whole idea that he glammed her, but like she wanted to rebel anyways, so I don't think he really even did anything. Because it's like the
Alice,
other one, what's her name, Lucy or
that's
whatever.
correct.
Like he
Yeah,
actually bit
and
her and
he
turned
bit
her,
Jeremy as well.
but Alice is just kind of there, like, tee hee hee, come here, come see what I
Oh
have
god, that was
now.
weird. So
Yeah.
yeah, he gets Alice. He glams her like he doesn't bite her. It's weird. She disappears. Kills her father. I thought her father was going to rape her for a second. The way that scene went when he came in drunk to the bedroom. I thought every
Mhm.
possibility he was going to fucking do something gnarly. I was like, ugh. That's the way it
Oh
was
yeah.
going.
Well, I mean, that wouldn't have been surprising either, because that's how
Yeah.
the character was kind of set up. Like he seems like he's getting pissed off because she wants to be with somebody and he wants to fuck her.
Yeah, I think that's, yeah. It's that whole. And once again, it's not overly stated, but it's there. It's that undertone of this guy's a fucking deviant. I know there's only so much you can do in the 70s without getting banned,
Hmm.
but um, yeah, it was there. And that's what I'm talking about these subtle undertones. He wants to bone his daughter. Like, there's no if, buts, or
Hmm.
maybes about it.
No, no, not at all. It was
Yeah.
pretty goddamn
So
obvious.
she kills him, and then this bit at the funeral. Oh my god, that's just.
Yeah, how do you not notice that? Like, oh, hey, I just buried him. I'm gonna run over here. You're all smiles and not dressed warm. Of
Yeah.
course I'm gonna follow
That's
you.
where it just gets dumb. Like, this just goes dumb and
Uh,
super dumb from here onwards. Like, we're
mhm.
on a train wreck of fucking dumbness. Destination dumb fuckery, because
Yeah,
honestly, this. Like, even me, like,
yeah.
she's an attractive. The actress Isla. Oh god, I can't remember her name. Is an attractive woman. But even I wouldn't follow her, and I'm a bit
Mhm.
stupid when it comes to women. We have proof of this. Um,
What?
even I
I
wouldn't
don't know what you mean.
follow her. Who turns up giggling at a funeral of her
No.
father after going missing?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But hey, apparently they're
Yeah,
young
it's
and
just
dumb, so
it's
whatever.
almost like right. The plot needs this to happen. Right, quick, just next.
Hmm. And that's exactly what it feels like. But it's like I don't get it either too, because it's so quick in the succession of scenes, but the actual scenes are so long and drawn out. It's like
it's a weird
I don't know
pacing.
how to explain it better
Yeah,
than
it's a
that, but it
weird
was just
pacing.
so weird. Yeah.
It's like you said. I think because the whole thing with Christopher Lee didn't want to be involved in this, and the studio
Hmm.
weren't going to make a movie unless he was, and it's like they had to just
Hmm.
write everything in a week. That's the feeling I've got. They've had
Yeah.
something. It's like sorry to jump into another franchise, but you know the Dark Knight Rises. I think the story
Hmm.
behind that was Christopher Nolan had a whole storyline based around Heath Ledger again, the Joker character, and then when Heath Ledger died,
Hmm.
that completely screwed up his plan, and I think that's why he got that sort
Hmm.
of convoluted script. So I think in comparison,
Well, so the problem with Dark Knight Rises, so Dark Knight Rises is actually based on, well, loosely based on a book, which the book itself is based on like 4 or 5 different storylines. But the book itself is fucking amazing. What, how it turned into that dumpster fire, I don't know. Like an asthmatic white Bane, like come on. Fucking,
yeah, weird.
I fucking,
No, I
yeah, I
think,
hated that fucking
and
movie.
just why I'm drawing the comparison is because I think um,
Mhm.
The Dark Knight, I think Nolan had an original script and he was involving the Joker in it, and it was going to be the culmination,
Mhm.
and then that completely got turned in his
Mhm.
head. I think that's what happened with this movie. Is they had their original plot.
Mhm.
It wasn't going to
Probably.
involve Christopher Lee. He didn't want to do it, and then the studio went, "No, you're
Mhm.
not getting this unless Christopher Lee's in it," and then they just rewrote everything, and that's why it
Mhm.
doesn't. It's not a cohesive storyline because of the way
Yeah,
it's written.
definitely.
I think it's worth with these movies to know the backstory. This is something I'm becoming more interested in.
Oh
Is
yeah,
what's the
definitely.
backstory of how these movies and franchises come about? Because when you see drastic changes or you see something that doesn't add up, something's went wrong in the background. If that
Mhm.
makes sense. So it's good to know what's went wrong, so you can kind of go, "Oh shit, okay, that's why this is shit," or "That's why it's really good," or "That's why they fixed it."
Mhm.
It's like the original trailers for a movie and then the actual movie coming out. You kind of see the changes.
Mhm.
Just one Sonic the Hedgehog was a perfect example. The first,
That, oh my god, that shit's so stupid. Like I refuse to see it because they caved. Like the studio caving to public opinion, just as far as I'm concerned, that's the destruction of cinema right there. Like just stand behind what you created for fuck's sake. If it's good, it'll be good. If it's bad, it'll be bad, regardless of some fucking
yeah,
CGIs.
I
That
think the
was the
problem
biggest
is as well.
crock of shit.
People think the public opinion is the internet, and I'm sorry, but it's only a
Hmm.
small percentage of the population
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
most of us like the only reason I use social media is for this channel, and it's a painful experience.
Hmm.
I'll not lie.
Yeah, I use it for work, and I every day I think, man, is today the day that I delete my Facebook
Yeah,
account? Every fucking day.
it's not the real world. Most people don't
No.
aren't on these forums and channels, and wherever the movie studios are going for their information, that's not where people that actually pay money and go to the movie theater are.
Yeah, no, those people are all just gonna fucking torrent it anyways.
So it's a weird thing, and I think the studios are
Hmm.
starting to learn painfully that where they think they're getting their metrics from is not the right place, and it's going to be a hard, painful
Hmm.
lesson for them. But hopefully things will change. But yeah,
Hmm.
God, where was I going with this? Yeah, so ideas change, and it's good. Yeah, yeah,
Where is there to go with
ideas
this?
change, and this is where it can either be good or ill. You know, it's good to know the story behind it.
Mhm.
That's where I was going. Yes, okay, we're back on track again. Choo choo to the endless
Yeah, yeah,
fucking movie. Oh my god. Yeah,
yeah.
that's one. That's two. Like, what the fuck? Like,
that was unnecessary.
he became
So
Count Dracula.
unnecessary.
1, ha 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 ha. 2, ha ha ha
Yeah,
ha ha.
yeah, the Count. Yeah, I know. That would have made it more entertaining if he
Fucking
would
Count
have done
Dracula had
that
a
shit.
beard. Fucking, ha ha.
Fuck.
Oh,
Yeah, that was awful.
like,
And it's like, why would you want to do that anyways? Because of what they did, you're back. Like, why would you want to kill them? Especially because they really didn't have any part in it
yeah.
other than buying the shit so that dumb fuck could do the ritual. Like, that's one thing I had a hard time trying to understand is like, why is he
They're trying to
after
say that he
them?
beat him to death, but he didn't. The blood did it. Like, they started beating him with the canes, but
Yeah.
like, I love the way they draw the swords, the sword canes, right? And then beat him with the sword. That's not how swords work.
No.
Like,
No.
it'd have been better keeping the sheath on, and beating him would have been a heavier weapon. And then Paxton leaves his behind, and they actually still have it sitting there. Did you notice when they went back to the church?
I
The
didn't.
cane is
That's
still
funny.
sitting exactly where it was left. Yeah, and that was the other reason. If you were out having sex parties with that guy who's a sniveling dipshit, would you want his son anywhere near your daughter? Even though you want your daughter for yourself?
Yeah.
It's like, that's why I
That's
don't want you
fair.
to marry him,
That's
because
fair.
look at the state of his dad. Yeah,
Right.
one cool scene though, Dracula dumping the body out of the coffin. That was a good scene.
Mm-hmm.
So when he goes into the crypt, you know, to stay, and you see the body just dumped to the side. He's like, get out of here. But yeah, why take revenge when the servants are disposable to him? The only servant he's ever had any attachment to has been Reinfeld. That's the only servant that's ever like stood the test of time with Dracula. Everyone else has been disposable. Even the girls towards the end, you know what I mean? They're just disposable. So why does it go on a revenge? Like, honestly, it's... Oh, let's just write this script in 10 minutes and get this movie made.
Yeah. I think saying 10 minutes is giving them a lot of credit. This feels like something that was just sort of like
Yeah, just
filmed
improv.
on the fly.
Just, oh shit, what do we do now? Well, this is what we had, but we can't do that anymore, so meh. God, right, okay.
Yeah.
So all three blokes get killed. Let's just put it like that. There's nothing exciting or interesting. They all get killed. Jeremy gets framed, even though he's got bite marks, and it's like nobody even questions that. And it's that era where people still believe in vampires and the occult. Blah blah blah. Paul goes to rescue Alice because, of course, you need a final girl. He has to go rescue the damsel in distress. That ending scene. What the fuck was that? It's Count Dracula. Why is he going throwing rocks and shit? Like, what the hell?
Yeah. I didn't get that. It's like, why are you throwing sticks and rocks, and like, why wouldn't you just go over there
Like,
and
we've seen the battles
kill
between
him?
him and Van Helsing, Peter Cushing's character. Epic fucking battles where Peter Cushing has like on the verge of death until he like jumps and pulls the curtains down. You know what I mean? What was this shit? Like,
Well, and just because they have a couple of crosses, like, it's not that big of a deal. Just don't get touched by the cross.
And the glow and shit.
So then he goes and stands in front of a giant one in the window, and yeah, that was awful.
And then it switches to like the 1960s. Because that scene was not, you know what I mean, that cutback or flash, it's supposed to be the magic of a mass taking place. That was a modern day. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, when he did that cut scene as if a mass was taking place,
Interesting.
that was quite obviously in the 60s or 70s. It was not in Victorian, like the lighting and everything, the way it just flashed. It's like, what the fuck? Did he transport into the future?
Yeah.
That
Yeah, it
was
didn't make any fucking
awful.
sense.
Absolutely terrible. I think Christopher Lee did this deliberately as well. He's like, you're not fucking getting me in this again. But there was another 2 movies after this. The Scar of Dracula or something else. I can't remember if Christopher Lee was in them. But they made another 2 movies in this franchise before they finally got the hint.
At least they got the hint.
Yeah, God. But
some point.
here, not a bad thing. They actually be able to go to work and go, fuck you, I hate you all, and you pay. I'm still getting paid loads of money, but I hate my job. I hate you. Any of the rest of us would get fired, end up in the manager's office. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No. But he's able to go and
Yeah,
go,
no
nah,
shit.
I don't give a shit. Why are you making me do this? Here, you're paying me twice my wage, and I'm going to come in with a strap on and not give a shit. Like, they were going to try and get Vincent Price in this as well, but no way had the budget for it. I don't think Vincent Price could have saved it.
No, there's no redemption for this shit.
Not the best. As I said, we've got a pretty mixed bag this month.
Yeah. Yeah, even with the coming segment, it's some shit.
Actually, this is more of a positive note. These were quite fun.
Yeah, these were, yeah, they were fun. They weren't good.
No.
I didn't think they were very good, but they were at least fun.
I think
so. Yeah,
I think they kind of burnt themselves out having Peter Cushing in the episode. But yeah, Hammer House of Horror, we were doing Children of the Full Moon. Now, you just knew how this was going to go. Like, you could just tell what the plot was going to be. Like, there was no surprises.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, just the title in and of itself. It's like, oh okay, cool. Let's see your take on the. Oh fuck. Never mind. I can't think of Children of the Damned. Let's see your take on that.
Yeah. So we'll have open it up, creepy like. Oh god, those dog noises. Why? Like why?
Yeah, didn't make any sense. Especially when you pan in and see the dogs, and they're just sitting there like, "What's up?"
So we'll start off with the scene. 2 dogs are watching this girl leant over or something, and then you see that it's a lamb and she's smiling. So we know werewolves or something. It's the kids are evil. Okay. Which once again takes away from the whole story because they're only meant to turn into werewolves at night. But yeah, she's in the daytime eating things. Okay. Guess they couldn't do it at twilight. No.
Whatever.
Was it past their bedtime? Couldn't dim the lights a bit. Yeah, fuck.
Probably what it was.
But we'll have Tom and Sarah. They're the main characters. They're off on their honeymoon. And God, I had a 3 Series BMW, and God, those things do fly. I had a model just above a later model than that. That was brilliant. They're just racing machines. So the fact that it just decided to go into gear, like that's not how cars work. But anyway, and just take off. So have car trouble. The car goes off on its own, brings them to a stop just in front of this place, quite conveniently, so they can find the house. Yeah, Mrs. Ardoy. I love the Yorkshire accent. That homely sort of, hey boyo, it's great. But I don't know. It's it's all gone wrong. Like they've already told you the title. This isn't going to be a good place. I can't really think what to say about it. They meet the kids. The kids are creepy as fuck. So that they're already off. They've already told you that anyway. So there's no surprise there. Blah, we get the night boobies. That's a shame. We thought we were going to get some boobies, which that's been 3 episodes in a row now. We haven't had any.
Yep.
I'm keeping track.
For
Of course, yeah.
research purposes, of course.
But yeah, that werewolf, like, they're staying overnight. The werewolf appears at the window, and that makeup is terrible.
Mm-hmm. Oh God,
Did it have been
it
better not
was
showing
rough.
anything? Maybe a shadow.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like,
Mm.
less is more, especially when you don't have a
Yeah,
big
just
budget.
don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
So you've seen someone at the window, and they're up on the second floor. So you see something at the window like that and runs away. Why do you start climbing down a pipe? Like, you've just
Yeah,
been
no
locked in a
shit.
bedroom where you're safe. Why do you start climbing down a pipe? I don't know. It's just dumb.
Yeah.
So the whole premise is that the werewolf appears. Tom decides to go chase after it. Falls, knocks himself unconscious. The werewolf comes in, has his wicked way with Sarah, because yeah, why not? In werewolf form. Yeah.
I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do.
And then they end up in the hospital, complete amnesia. Like, I don't know. It was a fun episode, but yeah, there was absolutely no plot to this whatsoever.
No. No, we definitely get that a little bit with this series. Sometimes there's a story, sometimes it's like, oh shit, we gotta end this.
Yeah.
Ta-da! It's over.
Because you already knew with the pictures and everything else that she was going to give birth to a werewolf, and that's how the children appear. She's a target.
Mm-hmm.
You know she was going to go back the way she was acting. Like, it was all laid out. There was no surprises. Oh, the random woodsman appears. Oh, he's a werewolf. No shit, Sherlock, because they've only got so many cast members. They're not going to introduce new characters.
Right.
Go on. His makeup was better the second time. When he was partly transformed into a werewolf, they'd actually done a better job at his makeup than his first showing. That was weird.
Yeah. Well, and I see with stuff like that, it's like you gotta consider the time and the aspect ratio and the definition of when you were watching this shit when it first came out. Because there's certain things that just don't hold up. Like if you look at Flash Gordon right now, like the new releases on a beautiful 4K TV, it's rough. And I think that's part of why stuff like this doesn't work so well sometimes. Because when we first see the werewolf, I mean, it's dark. You're probably watching it on TV that's
True
like
enough.
this big, maybe black and white, and like it's kind of grainy. So there's a lot more forgiveness with that. Whereas, you know, now you're streaming it in 1080p.
True enough. Actually, we'll talk about this with Suspiria.
Yeah.
When they remade that 4K, it just it ruined it.
The
story and stuff. But like I said, the dog scene, that was a glove puppet. You know, it's when they strip away what they use, the mask things, it kind of makes sense. But you'd wonder when people are touching things up, they'll never play it back. Like, there's nobody review it and go, actually, nah, we need to. Like, I know when I do all the graphics and stuff for this, like, I go through this about 3 or 4 times at least. And then I keep it at certain stages, and if something's not working, I go back and change it. Like, I'm still not happy with, you know what I mean? It's still a work in progress, but still, I know the level of attention I put into trying to make something look half decent. So I don't understand why they don't.
It's probably just budgetary shit, and you don't get time. Like, I can appreciate that.
But yeah, his makeup was better. As I said, when they see him at the reveal, which nobody was surprised about. Let's be honest. Like, you saw that coming a mile away. You even knew how he was going to kill because he's carrying the murder weapon. It's like, okay. And how dumb are these pair? Like, he's supposed to be a lawyer. They're supposed to be a professional couple. And they're as pig shit. Don't go into the dark woods with a stranger. Don't go out the window when you're in the safe spot. You're in a safe room. But yeah, whatever. Okay.
Right. See, around here we just call that white people. Like, those are the motherfuckers in the movies that you're just like, don't do it, don't do it.
And they go and do it. Well, this last episode was actually a lot better. Carpathian Eagle.
This one was better. Another one, as you would attest to, no boobies, but it's a good one.
That was a hint. I remember this from before. I actually thought it was a movie. You know when you've got that much shit in your head? But I've always remembered that scene with, towards the end. But yeah, what we'll have here is a serial killer. Woman going around, cutting the hearts out of men, picking men up. And I don't know. I'm no, what do you call him? Hugh Hefner type. But when on this planet have those pickup lines ever worked? Ever.
Right. Like, yeah. All those guys should have known they were going to die. They deserved to die by being that fucking lame. Like, hey, baby, you want to go back to my crib and fuck? Like, that's the kind of shit you deserve death for.
Say yes as a serial killer. Let's be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, you should know that she's going to kill you.
Like, unless it's a weird suicide thing that you want the serial killer to pick you up, that's the only reason they act like the way these people are.
Yeah. Hey, driver, pull over. I'm going to speak to that lady. You are absolutely stunning. I want to take you home. Let's get in my car. You're stupid if you say no. Okay. Wait, that worked?
Yeah, that's almost like what it is. It's like, okay, you're out in the night. Okay, lads, let's have a laugh. Let's come up with the stupidest fucking lines and try and see if they work. Do you know what I mean? And you would be like, fuck, did that actually work? Really? You know I'm taking the piss, right? Oh man, this was fun but dumb as well. You know,
oh yeah,
like the police officer. What do you call him? Chris or something.
Yeah, I don't
He
remember what
goes
his name is,
for the old woman, and like, you're not killing anybody. Come on, you can like. Is she really going around picking up men? No, sorry. Why even looking there? It's weird.
Yeah.
You know what's the author, like, even from the start.
Oh yeah, from beginning, it's so obvious.
Yes,
because she's
so
researching.
You know it's her from the start. You see her face, so there you go.
Well, it's because you're supposed to question it because of her really bad perm. Like, was that really her?
Yes, it was. Come on. And once again, I think it's a time thing, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's like, that was fashionable. That was sexy.
No.
Doesn't hold up.
Or people, it's like the Clark Kent glasses thing. What? I don't recognize you. Like.
Yeah. It's amazing how a cheap wig will fucking change somebody completely.
Yeah, absolutely crazy. I'm trying to think what else to say about this. Yeah, of course he gets in a relationship or starts chatting her up, because that's the professional thing to do when you're in the middle of an investigation.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Of course. Why wouldn't you fuck your prime suspect, even though she's not a suspect? Even though she's the obvious suspect. Witness,
if you do that, you're giving the defense, you're tampering with witnesses. So, even as an expert witness, there's a degree, even as far back as the 80s, 60s, this is set in the 80s, but even as far back as like the 60s, you just know that. You don't mess with witnesses in court. You just don't do it. And he's already a detective, so he's not as if he's just off the plot. He's a seasoned police officer.
Yeah,
so,
he knows better.
Suppose the plot needed to happen.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it did surprise me with the ending, though. Like, I really thought he was going to get away from her.
Yeah, it was an interesting little sideline with Turdick. Was it Turdick? Hans.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, nephew.
The nephew. The nephew that's a
Tardik.
drag queen, a
Tardik it is, yeah.
professional drag queen. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Was it Tardik?
Yeah, the
I,
reason
I
he
don't
escaped from
remember.
Russia. But once again, there's the 80s. We're talking about issues and persecution.
Hmm.
Oh, really? Have we not had this
Hmm.
conversation? Silly kids on the internet. We've done
Yeah,
this,
for
you
real.
fuckers. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And it's
Yeah.
so nonchalant about it. Like it's just a part of the movie. It's not message motherfuckers. Like it's like, oh, okay, that's why he's here. So, that's is it him? Is it the aunt?
They know they're connected.
Yeah, it's
They know they're connected
whatever.
because of the story. And the officer's like, listen, I'll help
Hmm.
you out, but I just need you to help me. People are getting killed. That's more important than what you dress up as. Like sensible people.
Hmm. Yeah, he's like, I don't give a shit. I'll get this shit sorted so you can be here legally. It's
Yeah,
cool.
people are
Just
getting
fucking
killed.
help me, dude.
I think that's
Hmm.
why. Yeah, take note, kids. Priorities in life. Fucking. But that was it. Just glossed over. Done. Brilliantly done. You know what I mean? Uh, yeah. Sorry. Just all this shit going on at the moment in January. It still hasn't ended, and it's pissing me off. And when you look back and you
Hmm.
see that these issues have been tackled in a much better way.
Well, and to an extent, like to play devil's advocate, I understand why it's being brought up and why it's being driven home so hard. Because the problem is, it's not the fact that the issues haven't been addressed, it's the fact that the issues are still there, that it's an issue. So I get it, but when it comes to art, when you're trying to use it and rally people behind that idea, you can't preach. All it does is turn people off. Like, here's a great example. I would very likely be vegetarian, if not vegan, if it wasn't for my wife. Just because that's how I am. That being said, vegan starts talking veganism with me. I want to take a fucking bag of hot dogs and just eat it in front of their fucking face just to prove a goddamn point. Because it gets annoying when people are fucking preachy, even if it's something that you're
Another
behind.
example is I consider myself an environmentalist, as in I don't believe that you do more.
Hmm.
You try and minimize the damage you do with your living.
Hmm.
So I recycle. I
Yeah, of
I
course.
reuse stuff. I don't like. I like buying locally rather than mass produced. Manufactured stuff. I
Hmm.
don't. If there's a way to stop pollution, do it. But like these fuckers over here, Extinction Rebellion, when they start doing their weird shit, I want to take a car tire, put it in the front lawn, and set it on fire. Just to go fuck you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the reaction I have.
Well, it's so hard when people, yeah, it's so hard when people get preachy. Like you are going against the cause. Like it's so detrimental to, getting the word out there and making an issue not an issue anymore.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Yeah, like
Subtext, people.
this is just an example
Subtext.
of there's an issue which today would fill out 100 fucking news lines, or you know what I mean. It would be virtue signaled to death, and there's just done subtly. There you go, and you're left to make up your own
Yeah.
mind. And they covered so many topics in one scene, and
Hmm.
like there you go, done. Back to the story.
Yeah. And it showed how
Yeah,
not big of a deal it is. Like the dude does not give a fuck. The only thing he cared about was the fact that, oh shit, she has somebody that's living with her when she said she's
yeah,
not. It doesn't matter that he's a fucking illegal immigrant. It doesn't matter that he's gay. It doesn't matter that he's a dude in a dress. He's just like, oh yeah,
you're
no, that's
lying to
that's
me during
fine.
a
I don't
murder
fucking care
investigation.
about that. I just
Yeah,
care that you can help me. Yeah, it's like that's progress. That shows more than a fucking hour of preaching could.
absolutely. Like, I hadn't even planned it. I didn't even think about it until I watched it. It was like, holy shit, do this. Like, just do modern versions of this today, and you'll fucking
Hmm.
get your message across.
Right?
But the way you're doing it now
Hmm.
is just like destroying franchises. Fucking,
Hmm. Yeah, like
oh
Wonder
god,
Woman.
I've heard about
Ooh,
that movie,
ooh.
and I'm like, okay. Or fucking Star Wars.
Dude, it
I
is.
posted yesterday the supporting Cara
Eh,
Dune, uh, fuck's sake, Gina Carano's character. I sent out a post on Twitter, but
mhm.
they did a whole thing yesterday to support her because they're trying to get her fired.
Why? She's not in it. Gina Carano is not in it. Cara Dune is in it. Cara Dune is a fucking New Republic officer,
But
not some fucking right-wing Nazi. Like, who gives a shit? It's a fucking character she's playing. If it was Gina Carano playing Gina Carano, I could understand that. People can have separate fucking lives from the characters they
and
play.
as long as you do a good job, and as long as you're not saying, okay, I want everybody to go hang that person, and killing babies and fucking,
Hmm.
actually setting up real lynch mobs and actually committing crimes, it's just got ridiculous.
Hmm.
What are you trying to achieve? And this is where
Hmm. I
this is
don't.
just an example of how you can get a message across, and this is we're still staying on topic. These episodes are how they can tackle social issues, even the Hammer Horror talk about social, hypocrisy. They cover it. They've done it well. They did it
Yeah.
with Twins of Evil as well, really well. Power
Oh,
and
absolutely.
hypocrisy and cowardice. These are actually deep
Hmm.
topics that they bring into movies
Hmm.
and get a message across without beating you over the head and making you angry. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It's like the original Star Trek series and Next Generation did more to tackle social issues than any shit they're putting out now.
Absolutely.
It just pisses me off. You're actually doing the opposite of what you're trying to achieve, and you're also ruining
Hmm.
art. You're making movies not fun
Yeah.
anymore. Like that Pale Door, that first movie we watched, it's just a classic example of how they're getting it wrong today. They're just
Hmm.
shoehorning in um, shit for no reason. Like I said, I watched the horror movie Porno, and fuck, what was it? It's like a so-called Red Riding Hood reimagining, The Hunt or something it was called.
Hmm.
Did,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That
oh
just
fuck,
barely came out. Yeah.
that's fucking like awful. Oh, two misogynists kidnap. No, it's actually one killer and two kidnap victims when you actually look at the movie, and then it just gets
Hmm.
fucking weird. The second half, it's like they bring Ryan Johnson in to fucking tell the rest of the story because it doesn't have anything to do with the start. Porno was meant to be a
Hmm.
comedy, and it's not even remotely funny. It's not funny at all. It's fucking weird.
That's that sucks because I was really looking forward to
Don't.
seeing that.
It's shit. But it's just preachy. I'm a gay man and I went gay conversion because I want to be a Christian and fucking I don't know. It's stupid fucking movie. Ugh. But
Hmm.
yeah,
That's a shame.
as I say, it's been a disappointing month for just watching stuff at the moment.
Uh,
Out of all this here, I didn't expect Nightmare on Elm Street remake to be the highlight. I suppose that's my
I did because I fucking I
yeah.
like I said I love that movie, so I figured that was probably gonna
I
be the
didn't
best of
expect
it.
that to be the highlight of everything that we've watched, especially new stuff coming out. It makes me dread the future of horror and the future of movie making in general, or TV or anything.
Hmm.
Yeah, we can laugh at the bad effects, and we can even tell when you go to the studio, you can see when a movie's badly made because of shit going on in the background, and it directly translates on the screen, which should be a message to producers. Yeah, keep your shit in order. If you're gonna have fallouts, then you need to just put the brakes and everything because you may as well not spend the
Hmm.
money and not go ahead with the project than just burn it.
Yeah.
It's like these people that don't want to make money because they're thinking of the quick buck for that initial. Oh, people will just turn up the movie theaters and see it, and I suppose that makes sense back in the day. But today, too much gets leaked out. Wonder Woman's a good example actually because the plot details have already been leaked out before it went on to HBO Max. The reviewers have already reviewed it. People know it's a terrible movie. So
Yeah, it was
yeah, but
it
even
was
for I
bad.
haven't even seen it, and I know it's a bad movie.
It's so my bitch fit with it is it's supposed to be a girl power movie, but the entire movie is her trying to get her man back because she's nothing without a
Yeah,
man. And it's like an hour too fucking long. If it was just a normal feature length film, like 90 minutes tops, would have been okay.
yeah,
But
and it's got
God, it,
Kirsten Wiig
yeah.
in it. So
And she's a fucking.
really,
I love her. Like she's. Yeah, I do. I fucking absolutely adore her. And the thing is, like with her character, I thought it could have been good, but as soon as they switched to like CG instead of actually having her in a suit, it just looked awful.
yeah, I don't know. It's just like the first one. I really enjoyed the first one,
Yeah,
and
first one's
yeah, a
fantastic.
couple of niggly bits, but there always is. But that's fine.
Hmm.
But this one I haven't even seen, but I've seen enough for the review and the storyline. I'm like, nah, I'm not even interested.
It's it's a whole awful lot of okay. There's a lot of really pretty visuals. Um, about it.
Yeah, okay, well, it just seems a shame. It's like they need to just wake themselves up. Whatever the hell's going on, and they're looking for the wrong people for uh, the ratification in their reviews. They're definitely pandering to their own crowd. They're pandering to a niche
Hmm.
group that live on social media and don't actually live real life, and that's never good.
Hmm.
Yeah, they never
Or
pay for
pay
anything
for
either.
anything.
If they're watching it, they've parroted it. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
That's just the end of it. You know what I mean? It's like even us doing this, we will buy stuff or rent stuff. You know what I mean? Even going back, we're
Hmm.
actually paying money every month to do this. That's more than what these people are
Yeah.
complaining on social media. Twitter's the worst. That's just a fucking sewer.
Hmm.
You can't get away from it.
Yeah, I don't
No, well,
have a
like I
Twitter
said, I only
account for
use it
that
for this
reason.
podcast. It's only really to because
Hmm.
it's almost expected. But I'd happily delete that account tomorrow and not give a shit because
Yeah.
it's difficult to interact. Like you don't want to go down that rabbit hole.
Hmm.
God, right, I forgot to flip and write down. I'm an idiot. Bear with me. Our authors this month. Colin.
Do,
I
do,
always put
do,
the note
do,
at the bottom of
do, do.
the show notes. But yeah, I don't know how to. I've kind of got on a bit thoughtful here. I know it's weird, kind of off track, but there's something seriously going wrong. How do we fix it? How do we get people back to normality or some sort of sensibility of enjoying life again? Because
Oh, that's a scary thing. This seems like the new normal.
this misery, I can only describe it as misery whores.
Hmm.
Like they don't enjoy life whatsoever. They just live to
Hmm.
be unhappy and angry, and that can't be good. That's why I love the horror genre because that's your outlet. If you're feeling frustrated,
Hmm.
then that's how you get out of the zone. You project what the gnarly shit going on in the world.
Hmm.
You project it onto the characters. So you can either,
Yeah.
what I mean, if you depending on what mood you are, you can either root for them and hope they get through it, or you can be rooting for the killer.
Hmm.
So that was last month. So this month, sorry, I hope we get this all right. We had Redacted by Tristan Hutchison, The Colour That Mortimer Had by Elaine Gilmartin, The Reservation by John Neville, Kin by Christopher M. Fink, and Bastet by Verona L. Jones. So, guys, thank you very much, as always. For those who might just tune in this here, obviously our other segment, Horrorific Tales, is where we feature independent and aspiring authors. So if you're self-published, you want to try and get a bit more exposure, we'll happily feature one of your stories, an excerpt of it.
Absolutely.
If you've never written before and want to actually, you know, try something, or you've written something you don't know what to do, we're more than happy to showcase you. You know, that's what it's all about. Because the only way we're going to get like quality content back is for people to actually create and not rely on the big companies.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's what we try to do here. It's kind of twofold. Yeah, we like to talk about popular culture and what's coming out, but as you see, so much is disappointing now that one way I think we can start maybe getting things back again is just get creators out there. You know, if you've got a story, and I shouldn't have to say this, but we don't care who you are, just tell a good story. You know what I mean? That's If you take anything away from our ramblings, is fuck, who cares what you are? It's not that important. You know, we're not gonna like February's supposed to be Women in Horror Month. It's like it doesn't matter. Every month, you know, we don't discriminate. Just have a story. If you submit this, we'll perform it. Obviously, if we get a lot, it'll take a bit of time, but that's why I don't put out the calls every so often, because I don't want to get overloaded with stories and a backlog.